this year, and they wait until the renewal, so.
And I kind of watch the invoices, and as they come through, I try to notify that, so it is being done.
Do we need to, I've worked with you on the Veterans Memorial, and the number up there, we kind of changed over the years, you know, the 380,000 we had invested, what have you. Do we need to give you an update? We change things out periodically. So I was wondering if we had to do that.
Yeah, that would be good to review, Wayne, whenever you're.
Because we're in the process of looking
do that.
this next year on another change out.
Yeah, it would be good to be notified of that. We try to catch those things when we go through the renewal review. But again, you know, more information, the better.
Okay.
So, what I generally tell my customers is tell your accountant, your attorney, and your insurance agent everything, and then they can do what they want with it. So.
Well, we kind of got an attorney with us.
Yeah, right.
He's our soundboard.
That's right.
Okay.
So. There is one change on the front page of the law enforcement liability. We do need to make an amendment to that to be 15 officers instead of 13. Last year when we went through the renewal, we had a couple openings, I think, and we backed it down, so we do have to make that amendment. And Jacob caught that for us. So.
Actually, Greg got it.
Oh, good job, Greg.
I'm going to bounce back off of that question just so we're sure. Do you feel comfortable with where we're covered for everything we're?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The other hiccup.
The number
Yeah.
we're paying for insurance is really, percentage-wise, very tiny.
Yeah.
For $120 million worth of stock.
$120 million.
So if we have 125 or 130 million, let's make sure that you've got the list of 130,
Yeah.
because we can pay you extra $10.95.
Exactly.
You know, it's just a small number for me.
Yeah.
Because all the rest of the stuff's in there, right? I mean,
Right. Yep. The other thing I want to add too, to piggyback on Rex's comments about, you know, other options out there. The Iowa ICAP allowed me, what was it, 7, 8, 9 years ago when the city purchased the rail spur out there, to manuscript an endorsement for coverage for railroad operation. Insurance companies, high and low, want nothing to do with railroads and insuring railroads. I wouldn't even know where to begin to seek that coverage elsewhere. So ICAP really stepped up and got it covered for peanuts for us. So.
Okay. Good information. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Matt or Rob? Matt, you got a lot to look forward to. Coming in at the right time here, buddy.
We're ready. My only other question is on 8. You guys are good. If you
7 done.
7 done. On 8, Jacob, you said just because we certify TIF, that does not mean we can decertify it if it's not used, correct?
Correct. Yeah, if we were right at what we were certifying is what we were bringing in each year, we'd have a little more of an issue, but we always have more certified than
Okay,
bringing in.
all right,
So.
that sounds good.
Anything else? Still for everybody else's opinion, that TIF thing is quite a fun deal. Right, Jacob? That TIF deal was quite a fun piece of paper to put together.
I love that TIF report every year.
And the report doesn't exactly work on an Excel spreadsheet on the internet. You have to kind of back into some of those numbers, and yet they make every city do it, and every county do it.
Yep.
So, we think we're doing it 100% correct, because we know what the end result is, but it's very difficult
Yeah, no, it takes a lot of time to put it together.
for everybody to know.
Motion to accept consent items 1 through 8, including resolution 2162.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to accept items 1 through 8. With the resolution in there, that's
2162.
2162. Could we have a roll call on that, Bill?
Sugar,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Knapp.
Yes.
Excuse me, Christie. Motion carried.
It's hard to change things, isn't it, after a while?
Oh, I tell you what.
You're just on a roll.
The older you get, the slower you get, I'll tell you that.
Oh, well, you just wait, Rob's gonna be up there, he's gonna screw up just like you did. But he's gonna get help, just like you do.
I'm gonna drive a lot faster.
We'll see.
Is anybody from the police department? Forgot to share with you, Robert, visit with you about one thing, that is that you do work very close with the police department, so that's part of your job. Okay, moving on to the action items. First one is speed limit ordinance at November 2nd, 2021 meeting. The council approved a second reading of ordinance number 969 regarding changes to chapter 140, controlled access facilities, and specifically speed limits on K-49 7th Avenue Southeast. Attached is the aerial and the ordinance changes. I think you all had an opportunity to see them and look at them. Does anybody have any questions on this? The administration recommends council to approve them.
Motion to approve third reading of ordinance 969, amending chapter 140, control access facilities, and Mark Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the third reading of the ordinance number 969 to amend chapter 140, controlled access facilities of the Lamar's Code of Ordinances. Do we have a roll call on that? Christie?
Sugar,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Knapp.
Yep. Motion to adopt ordinance 969 to amend chapter 140, controlled access facilities, and Mark Code of Ordinances, third reading.
Second.
Motion made and second to adopt ordinance number 969 to amend chapter 140, controlled access facilities of the Lamar's Code of Ordinances on its third reading. Do we have a roll call on that one, Christie?
Sugar,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Knapp.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Now that'll go to county supervisors for approval.
A quick question on that. Will that include not only the posted sign limit, but what Clark had asked about one other time, similar to what we have on, near the airport on Business Highway 75, you're gonna have kind of like a,
This is strictly speed limits for now, but we're gonna revisit that issue coming up because, yes, that will be revisited at that. This isn't included in that.
okay.
No.
Can I answer your question? Okay. Okay, moving on to the number 2 under the action items, all terrain vehicles and snowmobiles ordinance. At the November 2nd, 2021 meeting, council approved a second reading of the ordinance number 970 regarding a change to chapter 75, all terrain vehicles and snowmobiles. Attached is the ordinance and reflecting the change. The administration recommends the council approval on it. Do you have any questions prior to doing it? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the third reading of ordinance number 970 to amend chapter 75, all-terrain vehicles and snowmobiles of the Lamar's Code of
Is
Ordinances.
there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the third reading of the ordinance number 970 to amend chapter 75, all-terrain vehicles and snowmobiles of the Lamar's Code of Ordinances. Can we have a roll call on that?
Knapp.
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Schiffer.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 970 to amend Chapter 75, all terrain vehicles and snowmobiles of the Lamar's Code of Ordinances on its third reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to adopt the ordinance number 970 to amend chapter 75, all-terrain vehicles and snowmobiles of the Lamar's Code of Ordinances on its third reading. Christie, could we have a call?
Knapp.
Yep.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Conlon.
Yes.
Quick.
Yes.
Schiffer.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, moving on to discussion. City Administrator, Jason?
All right, just a couple dates and times to remember, I guess. Plywood pre-construction meeting actually occurs tomorrow at 1 o'clock in this room. That is for the Phase 1A that was let, and that's Goverson Smith. So that'll be here.
To be clear, that's the bridge.
Yes,
That's the, I've noticed they hadn't started yet, and they were gonna do that yet this fall, right?
Yeah, all it's probably, they're gonna start, probably within a week, start the dirt work, so you'll start to see the approaches for that bridge.
Right. The allotments.
We need to have this pre-construction meeting first, though, so that'll be tomorrow. Mentioned earlier, tomorrow, Wednesday at 4 o'clock is Chamber Coffee ribbon cutting for that Story Walk project up in Cleveland Park. So if you want to attend that, there is a story in that already, so. And that story will be periodically changed out by the library. And we could have had it today since we have all our new members coming. Swearing in ceremony. Looking at the December 21st council meeting
Okay.
at 11:30.
It doesn't have to
And we'll
be done,
send
it
out-
doesn't have to be done in the new year, I wasn't sure on that.
We looked that up. It needs to be, once what you did up here, the election of the canvas, once that's done, it can be done at any point after that, but it has to be, boy, I didn't bring that wording. We all looked at it. Within the third, so the first meeting in January wouldn't have worked.
It's the 2nd of January, isn't it, or 3rd?
The third. So it's gotta be, it can't be on a weekend, it can't be on a holiday, but it has to be the first day, the first business day.
But I never think you could have two people in the same post at the same time. For instance,
They're just doing the for the.
The tournament's not started.
The tournament's start, they're just taking
okay,
it over.
I was just asking.
That's the way.
Yeah, so this is legitimately to meet the state requirement,
Okay.
as it's written in the Iowa Code.
Okay.
Um,
So you're saying that's gonna be when?
December 21st.
Which is a council meeting?
It is the last council meeting
Oh, okay.
of December.
Okay.
It'll be at 11:30.
Okay.
So we'll send something out so everybody knows that.
It's gonna be a big celebration that day.
Might not get anything else done.
Bring the crown.
Yeah. And the last thing, just an update. So the next, continuing on with that ward, the ward and the precinct discussion. I have been talking with Stacy Feldman up there. So they are having a meeting, I believe the 22nd of their, I don't know what they call it.
Redistricting commission.
There you go. That is the 22nd. So then after that is done, we'll see what their suggestion is. I know Stacy had already explained it to me, but, so the two meetings in December, there'll be items on the council agenda to approve the wards and the precinct and an agreement. So I think we've gone through that precinct stuff before. It's a max of 3,500 people within a precinct.
Oh, ward.
Precinct. Wards have no limits.
Oh, okay.
Precincts do.
I had it wrong.
Okay, so they need to redraw their precinct lines. make that work. And what it'll do, according to the way she explained it to me, is the very north part of Lamar, so I'm strictly talking where a large number of you guys live, out in North Greenview. That will become part of a new precinct with some rural area. So since we're combining a rural and an incorporated area, there needs to be an agreement between the two of us. So that'll also come before you to approve.
So, is it like we can't agree, or can't agree, or is there a choice involved in that? Like the legislature did?
Well, yeah, you can do that, I guess. No, so we're not changing our ward lines. Our wards will stay where they are. Typically, the county handled the precinct stuff, so it really determines where you go to vote in some cases. So that'll be a change for one, two, three, four of you who live out there. You may have a different polling place for certain elections.
Well, it's actually out there. I'm
So-
pointing this way.
Well, yeah, well, the map is over there. The map is over there. You guys are over there. But anyway,
I think it's a case where you agree to do it, you'll do it anyway. Is really what it comes down to.
yeah, so what the process is we determine them. Okay, so typically a city would determine the ward lines and the precinct lines, send that to the auditor, Stacy in this case, and she has 7 days to comment on it. We can either agree with those comments and make changes, or we don't have to, okay? But if we don't, we have to explain why we're not. But in this instance, we're going to allow them to determine the precincts because we've never had to before.
I don't think you'll have to move, Mike.
Yeah, if you don't.
Spare bedroom?
No, he's in the same boat as you, so.
Different reason. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah. That's all I had, unless you guys have questions.
Okay. Moving on to the finance director. Jacob?
The only thing I was gonna mention today is, our local option sales tax reconciliation, that they do once a year. So each year, they estimate, how much we're gonna get, and then, we get payments for that each month. And then once a year, they do a true-up based on the actual receipts that were received. So they have to have it in our account by the middle of November. So we received ours, and it was $240,000 positive. So,
And that's something. That's quite an increase.
That was on a bad year.
That's like 2 months.
That was on a down year.
yeah, so it was
That just means
higher
they
than I
guessed low.
expected, for sure.
On what they gave us, they guessed low.
Yeah, so they guessed
It's just
low, and
true.
it ended up high.
So can Kevin add more to the PD?
I was just going to comment on that. We gotta pay the insurance first.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, moving on to general discussion on the council. Mike, I'm good. Clark?
Jason, where are we at on 75? Are all the projects that are started done?
Okay, so the cones that are out there right now will disappear tomorrow morning.
In the curb,
Yep.
okay?
But all those cones will then get moved south. So if you've driven south of 18th Street towards the bypass, around towards the bridge and stuff, you've noticed other
Sections.
sections not as bad. Either they were blowouts or, those are going to start to get repaired.
Okay.
So there will be, it's 4 lanes wide, but so that'll go down to 1 lane each way. That'll start tomorrow.
And then that will be the last
That will
section
be
this year.
it, we're running out of time.
We're running out of time, okay.
Yeah.
And where are we at with Hy-Vee? Are they,
Have not heard back any more progress from them.
do we need to be proactive on our elimination of one of those streets? If we're looking at possibly doing that, do we need to be thinking this way right now so that?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll do that, Clark.
I'm not saying we should, I'm saying,
Yeah, I haven't heard back from the DOT either, as far as that traffic report goes. And that's something they were gonna look at. I don't think that whole leg, that intersection is,
crucial to the project?
well, crucial or needs to be, in order for the Hy-Vee thing to
I
happen.
mean simultaneously with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we can continue to look at that intersection. I think we'll let that, so what we'll do as part of the Hy-Vee thing is we're looking at the Lincoln, that Lincoln
Right.
stretch there, and widening and a turning lane there.
But if the Hy-Vee traffic is going to be congested more, then it may be, not necessarily.
Well, it may push that intersection faster.
Maybe part of that intersection in the equation, so
Yeah,
that's the part I was referring to. And then the.
but I really do think the changing out of those traffic lights, I think that's gonna ease some
Clear
of
a lot
that.
of it, okay.
Yeah, especially the turning traffic, as you're trying to turn across lanes to go up over the railroad tracks. I think changing those traffic lights out will help ease a lot of that.
Okay. And then the only other thing that I got is, and I've talked to Jason about this and maybe a few others, but with Rob coming on board, I'd like to revisit resurrecting the park board. I think we need a park board. We have citizens that want to get involved, and I'd like, whether we end up doing it or not, that's something that maybe we should talk about. I think it'd be a good idea, so that's all I got. Thanks, Rob.
I'm good. Everybody?
Question for the chief, odd even parking, lots of them?
I
You
would
of them?
say, yeah, we probably began the first part of the month issuing 100 to 150 a night warnings.